All right, so to create my pocket bag, I have a pocket bag depth from waist seam is 11 inches and width from side seam is 6.5. So I'm going to measure those at the inside edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 11 first. And I'm going to just mark down from my side seam. It's not going to be perfect, but it is going to do just fine for now. So from the end, I'm going to mark 11 inches. I'm going to hold shift to keep it completely vertical. And I'm going to bunny click. And I'm going to then type in 6.5 inches. Okay. And then I'm going to create a new 2-point line snapping to this point. Okay. Turn value off, hold shift, and you're going to snap to your waist seam. Okay. So now you have your pocket bag indicated here. Let's see how off this line is. 10 3/8. Okay, so maybe that wasn't the best way to measure down on the side seam. So I can always just do an offset here, and I can change this to minus about 0.625 or so. Okay, and then I can just do modify adjust and go ahead and snap this here. Okay, so I'm right at 11 inches now. Okay. Alternatively, I could have marked out here 6.5. Either way, it's okay if it's not perfect. For this, I mostly care about you grading this pocket. Okay. All right, so we're done with the front pocket. So the cargo pocket, we're going to create the cargo pocket, and then we're also going to mark it on our patterns. Okay, so to create our cargo pocket, let's look at our measurements first. So we have 6.5 by 5 3/4. 6.5 is the height. So remember that we want it to go, along the grain line here. So I'm going to do create rectangle. And I'm going to click in here and I'm going to bunny click so I can enter my values. So the Y is actually going to be the width, so it's going to be 5.75, and the X will be the height, which will be 6.5. Okay, you can name this whatever you need to name it to put it into your model. For this demo, I'm just going to call this cargo pocket. Okay, all right. So this is our cargo pocket. Now for the placement, we need 15 inches from waist seam at side seam. So I'm going to just add a notch. So I'm going to do standard notch. I'm going to bunny click on my side seam. And from this side, I'm going to type in 15. I'm going to do the same on my back. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use this for my placement, and we'll end up using this for our grade as well. So I actually want to use my pocket to draw the lines on my pattern piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a mark at the center of the top and the bottom of my pocket. So I'm going to right click and choose midpoint, and I'm going to choose the top and the bottom of my pocket. Okay. So then I'm going to use these points to align it to my side seam on both my front and my back, okay? So make sure you're in Snap to Geometry, and you're going to click and drag into that mark, okay? And then you're going to snap it to that notch. Then I'm going to rotate, so modify, piece actions, rotate. Make sure you have select reference location selected. You want none for your increments. Okay, so you're going to click the piece, right click OK. Click and drag into your mark. That's the point in which you want to rotate the piece about. Then for your reference point, choose the mark on the other end. That's going to let you snap that point to the side seam. Okay, you don't get a yellow box or anything, but you'll feel it. Your mouse will kind of stop once it's snapped. So click and release. Okay, so now I have my pocket essentially centered over my side seam, and I want to trace these, copy these lines essentially into my front piece. Okay, so I'm going to do what am I doing? Create line copy. Okay. I'm going to choose this line, this line. Careful when they're stacked, you have to kind of make sure you're hovering over the right piece. Okay. And I'm going to right click OK, and then select the piece you want to receive the copied lines. I'm going to click my front piece and say OK. Then it asks me to select a point to guide the line movement. Make sure you have select reference location turned on for this. Okay, this will make sure. So I'm going to use that mark again. So basically I can then copy this anywhere on my piece, but I want it to be exactly where this piece was, this line was. Okay, so it'll give me that red dot, and so that is allowing me to see that that's snapped. So I'm going to click and release that. Okay, so now if I move my piece away, I have these lines that I can then clip. So I'm going to clip this line to my side seam and clip this line to my side seam. Okay, and now I'm going to go do this on my back. So I'm going to click and snap, and then I need to rotate again here. Okay, rotate, snap. Okay, and then again I'm doing create line copy, and I'm grabbing my top, my side, and my bottom. This is the piece I want to receive, and this is the point in which I want to use as reference. Click to drop it, right click OK to exit the function. Move your piece and modify clip. Clip. Okay. Now I want to realign this piece back to how it should be, so make sure you go to modify piece actions, realign, make sure you're on piece, because you don't want to change the grain line. Just select the piece and it will rotate back to its original orientation. Okay, so now I have my pocket location grade. Okay, so my pocket location placement on the base size. Didn't mean to say grade. So now the only thing left is I need to create a flap. So my flap is going to be slightly wider than my pocket, and then flap height at center. Okay, and so on the sketch it looks like my flap has a little bit of an angle. Okay, so I'm going to start with a rectangle, create rectangle, and I'm going to bunny click, and my Y is going to be 6, and I'm going to go ahead and make my X 2. Okay, this is my cargo flap. All right, so this is correct. I just need to raise these two side heights of my flap. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and just create a point at the midpoint of this line. Okay, so that gave me a point here. That way I can change these points and leave that point where it is. Okay, so I am going to do let's see, I'll do a create offset uneven. Okay, so here I can do minus 0.5 and do 0 and do minus 0.5 and right click OK. Okay, and then we need to change the point attributes of this point to be in so that it's sharp. Okay, so now I have my flap. Okay, it's a little bit wider than my pocket, and that is okay. Okay, so that concludes the I have 2 pockets there. That concludes the modifications. Okay, so your bodysuit has no modifications to it. All your measure lines are correct, and your measurements are correct as well. Okay, we will move on to grading in a separate video.